Hello there everyone and welcome back. We managed to get some experience, a handful of experience on my fleet the past two episodes it feels like, although most of those matches may have been considered underwhelming and not really exciting, but the experience process will at least make me more equipped for when we fight the real battles, when we fight a worthy adversaries were, although most of those fleets, the Imperial Navy fleets I believe were level 10, completely level 10, so that was a good exchange there, so it's at least an improvement from when I fought against Solari's Imperial fleet, and I honestly can't remember who the other Imperial fleet was I got sort of denied, just barely denied from the earlier episodes, but we're making progress. It's just a matter of keeping consistent, getting full value out of these Auroras because they are really damn fragile as we've seen, doing straight up blind attack runs where the weapons are readily available to shoot at me is probably not a good idea when half an Aurora's health is gone immediately if I dive straight at them, so I will need to work on that a little bit, or at least be really damn effective at denying them vision with my Sam Hand Favor and of course the regular Auger Disruptors. But that'll take a little bit of work there, especially with the inconvenience of Widowmakers, Emperors, and of course extended sensors being the exact same range as the Auger Disruptor, so it's not entirely going to be a guaranteed means of denying weapon shots. It's more the Phantom disruption is more than that, because it basically has 13,000 range, which potentially allows me to jam a Widowmaker, but am I able to get an attack run in within that 20 seconds to capitalize on that? Probably not. But I am going to have to work on that more, especially for the micro warp jump, so I suppose all in all I should really be paying attention to when this comes off cooldown, enter the webway, because that's a perfect indication for, at least rough indication of when the micro warp jump becomes available since they share a cooldown. The micro warp jump of course is reduced by the spirit zones, the servitors and all that, so it's like about 20 seconds, maybe 17 seconds away, depending on if they sneak in a reload or not. It'd probably be even further than that. But let's continue this on, shall we? Alright, so this is going well for me so far, because my first two matches are not going to be shown on YouTube, because one was incredibly underwhelming, and my second match that was with Calamar ended up crashing on me there for whatever reason. So it's a bit of a shame so far, but I guess he never committed to going Eldar, which is I'm a little bit disappointed by. I would like to get my practice in against Eldar, but with the extended range that he's going to have from the station, and a Void Stalker might be very handy here for its additional range, because trying to get in aggressive, at least Cloak and Dagger like, is going to be tricky. I do have 700 points though. Now, I saw he had his stake there, I saw his fleet composition 4, so how do I mix this up? Well, the Void Stalker is still good dealing with his bombers, let's not kid ourselves. I just gotta somehow bait him into chasing the Void Stalker, or at least one of my ships there, thinking he can get a kill, because trying to strike at the station is going to be tricky. I do have the torpedoes to kind of brute force it some, mind you, to force him to get uncomfortable. Especially if he is in front of the station, then my Void Stalker can at least get a couple of pulsar shots in relatively safely. But all in all, this is probably going to be a slow match with that space station constantly spotting me and all that good stuff, so we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Let's see, where would he plant the mines if anything? I couldn't tell you in the slightest, so what is my strategy here? Well, I already mentioned it for the most part. I would like to be able to chip something down to kind of force him to get uncomfortable, get him out of his comfort zone, and the torpedoes have means to do that. It's just a question. Actually, let me have my 4 Auroras together there. At least that way I have a tighter clump of torpedoes. And my level 10's in a bad spot. So, put that more in the middle, kind of help provide a little bit of spine potential if it's warranted. I don't know if I like having the Auroras all together, mind you. I like multiple strike ways, but I'm not going to have the convenience of just going in there and getting aggressive. I could jam it, theoretically, but that's only on a 3-minute cooldown, and it's only 20 seconds, so it only allows me to dive in and do a little bit of damage, which probably isn't enough there, but if I time it right, that can really throw him off. Catch him completely flat-footed if I do it right, but opening up with that's probably a bad idea to abuse this, which is kind of why I wish I had maybe the shadows in on this. They might have been more practical, at least for jamming. So, 4 ships there. This is pretty much the same composition as before, with a battle station to boot. But let's put these torpedoes to the test, shall we? I am actually curious to see if this will work as advertised. And I might actually reload. It's going to be a little bit of a testing, because these things are far more harder to shoot down. They're technically 8 torpedoes that are in a tighter clump, so they should do some damage. Is it going to be enough damage to justify it? Because so far he's making my job easy if he's going to come to me immediately. I do need to be mindful of his Slannesh. He was all Slannesh before there. So, let's try and get some shots in. We do have fighters in that ready. In my reload, I am getting torpedo hits in, but this is a bad arc. With that said, with my Auroras how they are. So let's be mindful. Also, I am going to have vision there. I'm going to be able to jam his sensors relatively well. And I can see him. So, can I spot and do damage? That was bad pulsar shot, but we did get hit on him. Now, he did stick beacons on me, so let's see. Now, we're gonna have to fly in aggressively, and for some reason I didn't have my Void Stalker selected, so come on. Go after Void Stalker. It didn't use its orders just yet, so it could potentially do a lot of damage here. I need to hurt his ship really quick, though, for this to work, though. So, he is boring with everything. I want to keep doing these shots, because, come on, keep them coming. I was hoping I had more boring shots, but come on, you have your Wraithbone shift almost up. That was a bit of an unfortunate ram. I thought you were clear. But let's keep these going. I did have a Maelstrom up, damn it. So we'll get the Void Stalker out a little bit, try to. And can I do damage I want to this thing? Because yeah, shields are back up there. Yeah, Void Stalker's not going to make it out. And that was a bad use there, especially with the beacons, mind you, but yeah, that was really sloppy. Getting that ram was a bad attempt. Torpedoes were doing a lot of damage, but let's see. How are we doing on damage still? Nothing really died of note just yet. If I can get good torpedo hits, I'll alleviate it a lot. And of course I'm messing up with my cooldown timers because I thought my torpedoes were up and only some of them are actually up, so that's a bit of a problem there. So yeah, that was messed up there. Got a little too aggressive with the Void Stalker because it was actually going really well for me when I had more breathing room. So, this isn't over yet. I want to try and get some kills there because I do have the speed to kind of kite him, and most of his weapons are on the broadside after all. So he's not going to hit incredibly hard here, if I do this right. Alright, boost on out, deal with those fighters. Try to anyway, those pulsars were a bit of a whiff, alas. Yeah, I messed up horribly there. Because the damage potential was looking promising, and I kind of was aiming to try and kill one of his ships quickly, so that unfortunately did not happen there in that regard. But, and you were not moving, so that's a bit of a shame too. Now let's get some practice in, shall we? If nothing else, I was hoping to keep that thing alive. I messed up the controls again there, but this thing's dead at least. This is an opportunity to practice my close range bombing, but when they void explode like that, it doesn't do me much favors. I relished this challenge, but letting the Void Stalker die as easily as it did was a huge mistake. Without a doubt. I messed up with the control too there. So I could have done that better, without a doubt. let's get another one in. Let's aim for it. Better improvement, because the planetary assault mission I had with him was going a lot better for me. The Slannesh is a serious threat. We need to make sure that when he starts using them, the defect is minimal rather. Ideally, I kind of want him to put him on the Auroras, because the Auroras have the speed to just keep distance, even if they can't really, excuse me, even if they can't quite just Wraithbone shift out, they have the speed to easily get out, and at least force him to commit a lot. And he has no real weapons on his prow, so fighting him directly in front is a good idea. So I played that horribly wrong, but I am willing to give this another try and improve on it. Because that was more my own undoing, because I was hoping to kill one of those ships immediately, and I did it wrong with the torpedoes, because of course I can't fire straight at him. I need to kind of lead them forward, even if he is coming directly towards me. Most of the torpedoes are not going to hit. And let's see, I did use the jamming, and I never did check to see how many beacons he has, but let's keep this going. My renown is going to get spent quickly, so let's be careful on that front though. But I do have a backup, at least with the shadows, and that's arguably a little bit better for me, because more jamming potential forces him to burn more beacons, and once he's all spent on beacons, then he's not going to be able to spot me consistently. So I think that's my main ultimate plan, have 2 shadows maybe, if I get another loss like that. But come on, do your worst there, Calamar. I am itching for it. He's probably going to switch over to his Eldar fleet. He's threatened to switch over to Eldar, and we'll see if that does him any favors or not. We will see. Well, we get an unknown adversary here, and this will help a little bit refine my practice against possibly Slannesh Chaos, because that's going to be the most problematic as Eldar anyway. But with the playstyle that Calamar had, or at least the fleet composition, I feel like he could be heavily punished in the other missions, and unfortunately we are not getting a rematch with Calamar either. In fact, I think there's like 4, maybe 5 matches that are not going to make it to his YouTube video because of either crashes or really underwhelming. Mostly underwhelming, but I am interested in trying this out some more, assuming he's even going that route, although I think the shadows are still going to be useful, at least against a frigate swarm if he goes that route, because there's just enough bombers that I could immediately kill most of them with a single shadow, and I won't have to invest in such heavy overkill that the Void Stalker basically will do with its bombers, quite frankly. But it still has the jamming potential, it still has the pulsars, and I can't remember what dialogue made it into this YouTube video, quite frankly, so I guess we'll have to start on over, because there was a little bit of thought process. One of the matches there, for 600 points, I tried experimenting with a Void Stalker and 4 Auroras for a 600 point battle, so if I was bringing up the question whether that would be a good fleet composition or not, or rather just upgrade to a Void Stalker and go with 3 Auroras instead. I feel like it has promise, but I am missing out on some damage potential and pulsars, as well as of course the bombers if I want to use it more for a utility ship. It's hard to really say. It ultimately comes down to the mobility. The mobility that the Shadow gives me as opposed to the battleship, the Void Stalker. It remains to be seen. This is a frigate swarm though, so I am somewhat prepared for this. It's just a question if my bombers can hit, and let's also make sure I'm not hitting myself with a mine, because this is a bit of an awkward position, but I have the speed to help heavily mitigate his mobility some. Now it's just a question of if I want to spread out an silent run with my Auroras or not. Because I don't expect these torpedoes to hit very well, but I can at least get some damage in, which will be useful. And if these Auroras can actually take out the shields of multiple ships, then my Maelstrom's doing amazing damage to the hull. If he boosts though, it's going to only be, what, 50 or so points of damage, so it's not going to be very impressive, but that's kind of what I like to try. If I could get enough good pulsar hits to justify it. Now, gotta be careful of these torpedoes because I'm close to really hitting myself there. Oh, and that was a misclick, but not a big deal though, since it can't really hurt myself anyway. I'm just trying to see if I can get some free damage, and of course keep an eye on which one's my level 10, because its extended range sensors is going to be handy here in this regard. And it's still a question if I want a solid run or not. I honestly don't know if I want a solid run just yet. Probably not, arguably, because I want to try and encourage him to burn some beacons. If I can help it, but we'll see. Let's see. Fire your pulsars, try and get some hits in. There, we almost got one of the iconoclasts dead. To the point I want to just maelstrom it now and kill it off. Is that dead? Okay, one is down. Let's kill the other one. And let's make use of our superior speed here some. Also, I could jam these, but I don't think that matters at this point now. Oh, he's just he's losing control of his ships anyway, so not as exciting as it makes it sound. And apparently, yeah, I did ram myself, so I took a little bit more damage, or maybe I didn't. It's hard to say if I did or not, but let's try and get some damage in. Get some maelstroms handy. Now, get on out. Fire torpedoes, ideally. Now, let's get this control going. Bombers are about to come back up. Maelstrom isn't... well, it just burnt to death, so that's all good there. So this is going to be very simple. Also, let's take out this ship here. That's his one bomber he has. And he does have a slaughter too, so be careful in that regard as well. And he does have Slannesh, but already falls maneuver, so it's not a big deal just yet. Now, can I do more damage to this thing? Because your jamming means crap. It is going to mess up with my control some, but it ultimately should not mean much. So, he also has a corn ship. So let's keep that in mind too. So you're being Slannesh. Let's try and punish these ships some. I don't know how effective it's going to be, but... oh, I don't want you target, ideally. Oh, you do have a micro warp ship available, but you're currently jammed. Now, kill off these ships for me. And I don't think... yeah, that was a bad... I thought my torpedoes were up, and that was a mistake. So, get on out. Do your damage. My controls are a little bit off, but let's try and do this proper. Okay, he's warping on out, so I'll let him live. I'll let him live. That was tense, though, without a doubt. That was seriously tense. That could have gone horribly wrong for me in a hurry. I was lucky to get the false maneuver before the Slannesh, because that could have meant the death of my Void Stalker, so I have to take that seriously. It will require a little bit of experience, mind you, to actually be able to be a little better at mitigating it, because I feel like the Auroras can kind of, at least are very good with their mobility and speed of just negating a Slannesh without really much effort. It's just making sure I'm not so close that he catches me off guard if I was expecting to do a false maneuver or boost out, because I was trying for like a torpedo run or that. But that was seriously scary. The Void Stalker, just because it got the false maneuver into the last second, probably saved it there immediately, because the time it would take to just turn around would have meant he was on top of me, which means I would be forced to fly through him, kind of how I did with Calamar in what I'm assuming was the first match. So, that was an improvement as far as the single Slannesh. The difference between Calamar and this fleet, of course, was he was a lot more aggressive and his favors were a little more... at least there was room for his favors to be a little more dangerous with the traditional Nurgle and Siege Cloud, although he had Khorne. That's not really true, but since I was affected by only a single Slannesh, that's a little more realistic to what I may encounter normally. At least in comparison to Boss, it went with my Imperial Navy fleet. He had what, only 2 Slannesh favors, I think, and they were both on the Hellbringers, I think. So, as opposed to like 5 cruisers that all have Slannesh, that's a big, big difference, I feel like. because I don't think Slannesh is all that effective in massive clumps though. It's just really good at denying your opponent either their abilities or a lot of their mobility, especially with the micro warp jump, kind of like how I'm trying to negate with the Auger Disruptor. The Slannesh is kind of the same thing if you have something locked down. But in all seriousness, I don't know what I'm actually saying. I just feel way thrown off by the sheer number of matches I had. Because like I said, I think 4, maybe 5 matches were throwaway ones. They were completely one-sided, my opponents warped out or they crashed, so I'm a little bit off right now as far as commentary, so I apologize for that. Well, looks like the Raven? We have ourselves a Primarch here. I can't remember the chapter off the top of my head. It's Raven Guard? No, I can't remember off the top of my head. I know he specializes in like jump infantry and all that. He's the reason the Chaos have raptors and all that fun stuff, but I can't remember for the life of me the chapter name. Nonetheless, it is 600 point battle. I don't want to field the Void Stalker. I don't want to make him feel bad. So let's try something I had in mind before. This is what I want to do when I had a 600 point cruiser clash against another Tau player, I think. He'd gone by a different name, mind you, I believe, so... Is this the strategy I want to do? Yes, it is. 3 Auroras and 5 Hellborn. We'll see how this goes. Well, I messed up that sentence in a hurry, mainly because I couldn't even see what I was typing with it loaded in. But this was one of the compositions I had for a 600 point fleet, mainly because I fought this Tau opponent before, not Korax, but it was a different player. So I decided to go a little bit easier on him and go with this composition, which this isn't the way I want it. Let's see. 2 Hellborn with an Aurora and then 3 Auroras together. We're going to try something that's a lot more micromanagement. In the long term, this should help me learn how to control Eldar and not rely so much on the Falls maneuver. That is the hope. That's the idea with this, because the Hellborn do not have any skills of any sort, so, which is a little bit unfortunate because I've been reading the official rules for the Battlefleet Gothic tabletop game, and Eldar, apparently, how their hit and run works on theirs, they basically get 2 moves a turn. They get a single move there with the as normal, they do their attack with their pulsars and star cannons, and then they get another move that allows them to turn away, which is kind of where the Falls maneuver comes in, as you're seeing it now. But the frigates do not get that convenience. That's one of the big downsides, that I've learned as I've been reading up on the Battlefleet Gothic rule sets, and also try to educate myself, because I'm hoping to do some more videos, at least about the rules of the new factions that we're going to be getting for Armada 2. As well as like be able to get a bit of an understanding on where these ideas came from with like the Falls maneuver. Are Eldar really overpowered with their ability to dash in so much, or is this part of their design? Because for the longest time, I thought Falls maneuver was just something Tindalos came up with to help complement their fragile state, but no. They can, unless I'm completely wrong, they can do 180 turns as part of their basic rules, their basic kit. So let me stop this monologue now. Let's play a real game now, because I got enough micromanagement as is, and it looks like we have a stronghold, so this is going to be fun. It's going to make for an easy kill if I hit it with torpedoes, but this might be a little bit a problem. A little bit, because of the sheer firepower of its macro weaponry. If anything, macro weaponry is dangerous. Oh, and I did not want you going that way, but I guess that's how it is. Now, you might get revealed, I do have Void Blending for you though, so not a huge deal just yet. Now, I am hitting, so he has to throw another beacon if he wants to do the damage he wants, but torpedoes are nice hits there. Oh, he also has the stealth alloy. I wasn't paying attention to that, but I won't be hitting in a moment, so that ruins his options there. And that plasma bomb should be alright, so that wasn't planned, but it actually works out nicely. So he threw on a beacon. That's probably not going to work very well. I am watching intently for a beacon where they're at. Sure, I'm going to get hit. Oh, I was going to say, I was hoping maybe this thing would get out, but it has repairs, it'll be fine. Its Sonic run's currently active, so we burnt a lot of his resources, if nothing else. And of course, that timing is a little bit off too. So that's going to be a bit of a pain trying to get used to the cooldown differences of these damn abilities too. Because it's completely out of whack with the lack of spirit stones and all that. So I'm really hoping the frigates can at least level up as well. That might be handy, even if it's like for every single frigate like they currently are now. Because like I said, these frigates are a lot more hard to manage without access to like false maneuver. At least as far as easily control them. Their high mobility speed will help make up for that in this situation though, but I am getting on a bit of a weird tangent and I don't know why. It's just a demonstration of how thrown off I actually am, I guess. So, this is going to be weird because we're shooting at something that's standing right still. Can I kill this messenger though? Yep, it's pretty much dead. We are taking some macro hits, but as we start killing these down, and he doesn't have water cache favor to replenish his frigate supply, I should be in a good advantage here. Especially since my assault run is still active, mind you, so... We got a good flanking position here. And now, can I actually do damage to that? Ooh, I'm flying into an asteroid belt, that's gonna suck. But I can deal with these secret missiles relatively well. My assault run's gonna be back up in a moment, even if I do get revealed. Now, fire pulsars. Ooh, he's actually gonna hit himself with torpedoes. That's mighty nice of him, although this might hurt a bit. And he is charging his laser, but that doesn't really do much good there. That should do no good. I just gotta be careful not to hit myself while these things fly out. And secret missiles are doing damage, but assault run will be back up in a moment. Again, Spirit Stone is kind of throwing things out of whack. Even if I assault run at the same time, it's not going to help me very well. I just gotta be mindful of that charge, but that mine laser is not really all that scary because even it's affected by the hollow target, I'm pretty certain. So let's try and get aggressive. And if possible, maelstrom that thing too. Now, I want to maelstrom this thing because he's making it easy. And I did lose a frigate alas, but... Oh, and I'm leaving myself way open, so... And something's exploding. I don't know what it is. Okay, it was the protector, so we actually did kill the damn thing. Wow, the torpedoes... Not the Aurora's torpedoes, but... The Hellborn torpedoes did work. And he's about to burn all his cogitators, which will do well for me. And do I have a level 10? Do I have my level 10, what is it, Aurora here? No, I don't. So I'm kind of going in blind, but I kind of know where he's at. I just gotta make sure these arcs are ideal, because I want to hit him. But, let's see. Oh, yeah. I was hoping... Oh, it's a level 1, too, so let's try and be a little more generous. I don't want to kill this thing, but he has to warp out with it. Well, actually, he'll be forced to warp it out because of their mutiny, and that was a horrible idea because I already had a maelstrom up. Never mind, he micro-warp jumped it out, so... Yeah, this is a little bit poor display, but it's going well for me. Considering the weird tangent I put myself in. You are heavily damaged, so sadly you're not going to do much, so... We are doing good damage, though. But... Let's get these things hitting. Because he doesn't have extended sensors, so... That's convenient there. And 2 more torpedoes for good measure. And 10 more seconds till my Aurora can hide. Oh, and all his fighters are gone too, so I don't have an easy way to spot him. Okay, now I do. So, everything get moving, because yeah, they're kind of messed up with each other a little bit, but it doesn't seem like he actually sees my ships though. So, let's get this all organized again. This thing's about to die, so I feel bad for him in that regard, because the secret missiles aren't going to do much. And yeah, this is now a bit of a clump, so I need to fix this too. The Eldar stand ready. Because I don't know which of these Hellborns are in Group 2 and which are in Group 3. That's part of my problem right now. But, Auroras are out. Those torpedoes should kill that off. And really, all I need to do is get these Hellborn grouped up together. If I can get some breathing room, that's going to be the catch. I can regroup everything just fine. but I don't want to accidentally group up my Auroras with the Hellborn and add to the confusion. So let's fix this up quickly. It's okay, Auroras are in group 2. Well, not Auroras, but the Hellborn are. And Auroras are in group 1, so this should help organize things a little bit more. Because he's actually helping me because he's replenished his fighters. Now I know where to aim my torpedoes. So, may not be the most impressive hits, but we can make this work. Okay, just keep dodging there. Just keep dodging, get the Hellborns in position. And hopefully my torpedoes hit. It's going to be hard to do. So going in, just fire torpedoes. This thing will die eventually. It's about to die in all honesty. And the right bone shift dodged almost all those macro cannons, although I think it's safe to say this frigate might not survive with the seeker missiles coming after it. Ooh, that one torpedo that could. Oh, so close. Although, we got this covered. We just need to get some good pulsar runs in. Go in again with the frigates and make sure these torpedoes should kill it regardless. I just gotta make sure maybe its shields are down to maximize my value. So you're boosting out. Oh, that's what happened. Just the roaring back is what kind of went back. Is false maneuver. So that is dead. It took a little bit of time, but it was a safe play to do if he wasn't gonna move. And now let's finish off the rest of his fleet. So far, this is an intense mission. I'm kind of liking the battle, but I am messing up on my control quite heavily. But we have an easy out for this. Just get out of the beacon, solid run, do your thing. And we'll just do it with the Protector, because just like with the Stronghold, we know where he's at. These aren't going to be the most amazing torpedoes, but it's wide enough I should be able to do that. And he still has 2 ships left. Let's not get too carried away. Until the end. Let's not get too carried away, but with it only having like... Ooh, I actually see him, so I could just sit right here if I want to be a jerk. It's a little bit cruel, but if he's not going to warp out, what can I do? He's putting little effort into this, so I can't help but send him off. I'm sorry, fella. I don't want to destroy your fleet, but you're leaving me little choice. So, he's going to conveniently dodge most of those, so lucky him. But now he has to come after these Auroras, which isn't going to be an easy thing. Now, I gotta be careful. If I'm going to burn retros to turn around, I'm going to have, like, no hollow field for this. Okay. I'll let go. I'll let it go. This is the smartest thing he probably could have done there, besides him just standing in a gas cloud. Because I can fire blind, I'm just not very practiced at it. As we've seen with the Stronghold. Even with its firepower and all that, or rather its fighters, slowing down my torpedoes, I was still able to hit it. It was when it didn't have fighters that took a little more effort. I could get a read of where it's at, though. So it will take some practice, but especially with the asteroid belt, if he moves at all, it reveals them, so it's not like he could do a whole lot about dodging that, I think. It's that gas cloud that's a little more problematic. But even if he doesn't have fighters out, my torpedoes are still relatively effective because they're not going to get shot down, so even if I were to do a wide arc, they're potentially going to do just as much damage as even if I fired them straight at the fighter clump I can see escorting his Protector. Which is another thing I wonder if they should fix, if the gas cloud should also hide the fighters or not. Definitely not the torpedoes, because clearly there's one intention with those torpedoes, and they're supposed to be coming straight at me, so I don't think there's any subtlety with them. But this has been a weird tangent, without a doubt, talking about the rules of Eldar, how things should be implemented with Armada 2, and just trying out a new fleet composition. I don't know if it's a good composition, mind you, because, again, the lack of the crew upgrades to kind of bring the cooldowns of all this stuff to the same level as my Auroras and all my other ships can throw me off, and I think it did actually throw me off too, because I was expecting my torpedoes up like sooner than what they actually were for the Hellborn. But it was still a fun match. I enjoyed it.